You ever have one of those moments where you're just living your life, thinking everything's fine, and then, bam, you're faced with something you could never have predicted? That happened to me a few years ago. I was on this incredible hiking trip in the Andes. I've been planning it for months, training, getting all my gear in order. It was supposed to be one of those bucket list experiences, the kind where you take your Instagram pictures and get a new profile pic. But it turned into one of the scariest days of my life. I was about 3 days into the trek when things started going sideways. I remember waking up one morning with a sharp pain in my chest. At first, I shrugged it off, thinking it was just the altitude messing with me. You hear about altitude sickness, but it's one of those things you think won't happen to you. By the time I hit the trail, though, the pain hadn't eased up and I was having trouble breathing. My heart felt like it was pounding in my chest. Now, I've hiked through some tough stuff before, long days, grueling conditions, but this felt different. It was scary, like my body was just shutting down. I was with a group, but they were way ahead of me. I could barely catch my breath, and I realized something wasn't right. I didn't want to admit it, but deep down I knew. I needed help. So I turned back, trying to make my way to camp, but by the time I got there, I was completely drained. My guides immediately noticed how pale I looked, and the next thing I knew, they were calling for a medical evacuation. I'll tell you, being in the middle of nowhere, thousands of feet up, and realizing you need to be airlifted, it was terrifying. But what was even more terrifying was the thought of what this might cost. I mean, I'm on a remote trail in the Andes. How much could a helicopter ride cost? And how on earth would I pay for it? I started freaking out. I was already struggling with the physical pain, and now this financial burden hit me. It felt like my life was crumbling. I didn't have an answer for the cost. I just wanted to get the help I needed and get to a hospital where I could breathe again. But here's the thing. I had travel insurance. Not just any travel insurance, but the kind that covers emergencies like this. I didn't think much about it when I bought the policy, honestly. I mean, whoever does. But in that moment, I was so thankful I'd taken the time to look into it. Within hours, a helicopter was on its way. And once I was in the hospital, I learned that the insurance policy covered the entire evacuation, every single penny. I remember being in that hospital bed, feeling completely exhausted but so relieved. I honestly didn't even care about anything else. The pain was starting to fade and I was safe. But as I recovered, I thought about how lucky I was. Not just lucky to be alive, but lucky to have had the right insurance in place. That could have been a completely different story if I didn't have that backup. I'm sharing this because if you're like me, you probably don't think much about insurance until you absolutely need it. And by then, it's too late to make sure you have the right coverage. Trust me, I get it. I used to be that person who thought I could just figure it out if something went wrong. But the truth is, you never know when life's going to throw you a curveball. And when it does, you don't want to be stuck scrambling for help or worse, facing massive bills you didn't plan for. After that experience, I started doing more research into travel insurance, and I found Auras.insure. It's the platform I use now, and it's the one that got me through that evacuation without leaving me in debt. The process was super straightforward, and it gave me peace of mind knowing that I'd be covered in any emergency situation, no matter how unexpected. It's a lifesaver, literally. I'm not here to oversell it. I'm just sharing it because it's a hack I've used, and honestly, I don't travel without it anymore. It's saved me in more ways than one, and I think it could help a lot of you too. You don't have to take my word for it, but I recommend checking it out before your next trip, just in case. Because you never know when you might need it.